the subject of financial planning, rather I would say personal financial planning, in my previous lecture, I talked about the cash inflows and the cash outflows and the factors which affects the cash inflows and the outflows. Now, after talking of cash inflows means, simply put it this way, that where from your money comes, the income you can say. Cash outflow means where you spend. So after talking of the inflows and the outflows and the factors affecting the inflows and the outflows, let me introduce you with the concept of savings. I would say savings is a virtue. All of us must save for our better life, for our better future. Because unless we save, we will not be able to prepare, will not be prepared for our financial goals. Right? Each one of us has some financial goals. Each one of us has to spend some money, some larger money on many occasions or on emergency things, on like say for example, some illness may come in your home, right? And you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, right? You want to get your children educated in a good school, right? You want to get your your children in for higher education, you want to send them abroad, or even within India also there are many institutions where the expenditure is quite heavy. The point I am trying to say is that you must make your habits in such a manner, you must manage your inflows and outflows in a manner so that you can make savings. What is saving? The difference between your outflows and the inflows. That if your outflows are lesser than your inflows, means your income is greater than the savings, right? Then whatever is left out, that is called savings. So savings refers to the money you put aside for future use rather than spending it immediately. Friends, many people in life, what they do, that first they plan their expenditure. Out of their income, they plan their expenditure, and whatever is left out after spending that income, they think of the savings. I would say that if you're a good financial planner, if you're a good personal financial planner, right, plan your saving first. That this percentage of your income you will save. And those people who plans their saving first before expenditure, they never face at least financial problems in your life. Whatever the level of income you may be having, you may be having small level of income, you may be having very large level of income. Howsoever large level of income you may be having, unless you are habitual of saving some part of your income, you will find yourself in a difficult situation at different stages of your life. Because if some large expenditure comes to you, that is, you have to incur a large sum of money in that. What is large? Large means which is more than your regular outflows which you spend. Then it will be difficult for that individual to spend that money. So what I am saying is that good people who can plan their finances properly and effectively, they plan their saving first, that this proportion of my income I'll be saving, right? And rest of the money I'll be spending. So it is the portion of the income not spent on current expenditure which is called as savings. So saving help an individual become financially secure. I'm saying that if I'm earning say 1 lakh rupees per month, right? And if I decide that minimally 20% of my income I'll be saving, right? So 20 months, 20,000 rupees each month, after 5 years down the line, it will be a large pool of resources. And if I want to buy a house or a luxury car or something like that, probably out of that savings, I can buy that. If that saving is not sufficient enough, even for taking even loan, if you want to buy a house, you want to take loan from the bank also sees to it that how much money you are spending from your own pocket, right? And rest is not that if a car costs 10 lakh rupees, all the 10 lakh rupees will be financed by bank. These days, although banks have become very liberal, but in spite of that, I will say they will give 80% or 90% of the car value, and rest you will have to spend from your own. Where from the money will come? I mean, your money, if you have a savings, you can spend that for buying that house, right? So this 10% will come for buying a car from your own savings, And this saving will come when you have plan your expenditure, plan your outflows and inflows in an effective manner, right? So it makes you financially secure. Saving is a virtue, I had said in the beginning. What are the benefits? It helps one to become financially secure. I will already explain this. It is the safety net in case of an emergency. See, anything can happen. Any natural calamity can happen. Suppose in a natural calamity, something happens to your house and you have to rebuild it. So for rebuilding, you require a large sum of money. Where from this money will come? If you have good savings, right? If you have a reasonable savings, you can use this money for rebuilding your house, right? It helps to deal with the unexpected financial emergencies like health issues, losing your job. Friends, health issue I have talked about, but these days most of the people are working in the private sector. Gone are the days in India where many people used to work, or most of the people used government was the only job provider, and or the PSUs and the government was the job provider. A very large section of the people are working in the private sector. And in the private sector, it has often been observed that as the business cycle changes, as the economic cycle changes, whether it is a national economy, whether it is a business cycle of a particular industry or a business cycle of a company itself, if the company finds itself in financial trouble, they normally tend to retrench some of the people in order to control their expenditure. The first casualty can be, first of all, they will reduce their overhead expenses, other expenses, and then they will see how much money they are spending on human resource. They try to minimize it so that with less people they can work in the same manner, because there is a downturn of the cycle, the business has slowed down, there is a less amount of sales, there is a less amount of production, so less number of people are required. So if the person loses the job, then it takes always time in losing one job and finding another job. Wherefrom you will be able to meet out your monthly expenditure. There are certain expenditure in life which you have to incur. You have to eat for survive. You have to eat. You have to pay your electricity bill. You have to pay your society bill, right? So there are many expenditure which are fixed nature. You have to give fees to your children's education, right? To the schools. So where from this money will come? If you have savings in the past and you have made some savings in the past, certainly out of that saving you will able to meet out those expenditure without much of the botheration, without much of the tensions. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to survive. So, I would say that in case of any financial emergency that arises, if you have good amount of savings, you can meet those expenses from those savings. It provides the ability to meet the rising cost of education. Not only education, I will say for cost of living, put it this way, that if you have good amount of saving and if your salary is not increasing the same proportion, certainly you will able to meet out the increased cost of living. Because as all of us know that inflation is a continuous process. Inflation not only in India, throughout the world. Inflation takes place in some countries, inflation is at a lesser rate, and some countries the inflation is at a higher rate, but the cost of living is increasing because as the aspirations are increasing, our consumption pattern is changing, we are spending more and more goods, we are spending on more and more services, we are using more and more services. For using more services, using variety of things, certainly your expenditure will also increase. So be it education, be it health, be it the routine expenses, your cost of living is increasing. So as your cost of living is increasing, suppose if your income is not increasing in the same proportion, but if you have made some good amount of saving in the past, that will help you to spend more money on your rising cost of education, health and other things. It is a cushion for retirement planning. Friends, I will again say that these days, especially in the not only in the private sector but even in the government sector, the earlier pension scheme which the government employees used to enjoy, that pension scheme is no longer there. Right? A new pension scheme has been introduced by the government of India from 2004. Right? And similarly in the private sector also, many companies in the private sector used to pay pension to its employees, but now many companies have resorted to decided not to give pension, but they contributed to some of their your PF account. Some contribution will be yours, some contribution will be employer, and the fund that will be generated by that will be given to you at the time of retirement, or you may call it a pension, right? The type of social security we used to have by form of fixed pension is no longer there. So once you will not able to earn, means I'm presuming that after 60s, supposing 60s is the retirement age in the government of India, right? Or most of the companies do retire their employees in the age of 60. So after retirement, when you will not have regular source of income, wherefrom you will incur your expenditure will be met out of your past savings. So for your retirement planning, the saving is must, friends. So how to generate savings? I've already explained it. Saving is equal to income minus expenses. So what you are required to do is establish your budget. Control your outflows. If your outflows are lesser than your inflows, certainly you will able to save more, right? You will able to save, right? So saving can be generated by creating a budget. Merely creating a budget doesn't solve the purpose. Implementing the budget, when I use the word budget, means your estimation of income and expenditure, estimation of inflows and outflows, right? Plan your outflows in a manner so that your outflows remain less than your inflows. What is required is you prepare a monthly budget, you prepare yearly budget, how much expenses you will incur on each of the different heads. How much on education, how much on health, how much on transportation, how much on clothing, how much on groceries, that is food, and so on and so forth. Plan your outflows. And you plan your outflows in a manner so that you can save at least some part of your income. And what will be your saving amount in quantum terms, in absolute terms, that will depend on your level of income. It has been observed that as the level of income increases, the level of income increases, right? Certainly the amount of saving, the proportion of income which you save also increases. But nevertheless, even if you are in a lower income bracket, you must make a habit of saving some sum of money. You may argue a person who is, a very lower income group person, he is not able to, or she is not able to meet out his day-to-day requirement. Despite of that, even if you save 500 rupees, that is good enough. If your income is say 10,000, 20,000 rupees, right? Start saving. If you have the habitual of saving, certainly in the later part of your life, when your income increase, your savings will increase. For that purpose, you must establish the budget. Budget is nothing but the quantitative statement of your income and expenditure, right? Inflows and outflows. Disciplined saving. Not only you make savings, but there must be a disciplined saving. Means, I can say there are two types of savings: automatic savings and forced savings. Which we call it forced savings. Forced saving in the sense like whatever salary I get, a proportion of my salary I have to contribute in form of provident fund, right? That is being deposited in my provident fund account. So that is the forced saving, that I have no choice but to save that much money, which is mandatory. Similarly, you must be a disciplined saver. In the sense, supposing I will start in the mutual fund, I will start a SIP, systematic investment plan. What you do in the mutual funds, that instead of investing in a mutual fund scheme in a lump sum amount, every month you give instruction to your bank that out of your X income, 10% of your income will be created in a particular mutual fund schemes. Right? I'm not naming any scheme. There are a whole host of schemes in India which are available, and people in India, more and more people in India are investing in the mutual funds. Or even put it other example, like recurring deposits in a bank, in a post office. Whatever a part of your income, you give instruction to a bank as and when the salary will come on this date. Suppose your salary is being created in an account on 1st of every month, right? So on 5th, this much amount will be created in my recurring deposit. You start a recurring deposit account in the bank, and every month automatically bank will transfer your from your saving fund to that recurring deposit. So this is called disciplined saving. So example, I've already explained: provident fund contribution, systematic investment plan of the mutual funds, or recurring deposit in a bank. So financial discipline refers to how well you are able to confirm your spending and savings to the plan that you have set to achieve your monetary goals. In the beginning of this subject itself, I talked a lot about monetary goals. All of us have different monetary goals at different stages of our life, right? For that, we have to spend the money. So if you are a person, what we discuss in the subject of personal financial planning is that we must be a smart person, in the sense that we must manage our expenses of finance in a manner so that the optimum utilization of that money can be made. Suppose I'm making a savings, and if this savings remain idle, right, I'm not able to generate income out of it, much income out of it. It means I'm not a good financial planner. Financial disciplines also tells you that you invest regularly. That is, out of your savings, you must invest. Investment, I'll be talking separately. There is a separate discussion we'll be holding on for this issue. But at this point, I'm saying that whatever savings you make, you must have your discipline. I was just talking in the previous point that automatic saving or forced saving. What is this? This is nothing but an example of financial discipline. That every month out of my income, 10% of my income will be created in a mutual fund scheme, SIP, we call it systematic investment plan, where every month or every intervals, I can say, it may be a month, it may be quarter, depending on that, every week can be there, right? Money will be transferred from my bank account to the mutual fund. So automatically I will have no choice. If I'm getting 1 lakh rupees and 20,000 is being transferred to the mutual fund every month on 5th of every month, I'll be remaining with only 80,000 rupees. So I'll have to manage my expenses within that 80,000 rupees. Right? So this is called financial discipline. Being financially literate helps in inculcating financial discipline. Right? You must know financial literacy. You must know that what are the budgets, what are the schemes different. Not only earning is full, different financial instruments you have for investment. That is called the financial literacy. Many of the people, especially the old generation people, they know what are the investment avenues. They know only bank. That bank is there. I mean, either you do FD or you deposit your money in the saving fund. They are not aware of the different financial products that are available that can give you a better return as compared to the bank FD or bank saving account, and which are reasonably secured. I am not saying perfectly secured, but which are reasonably secured. How you will come to know all these things? Through financial literacy only. That if you have more knowledge about the different financial products that are available for investment, you will able to generate more income out of your savings, right? So financial literacy is important. One can start with the small habits and hold oneself accountable. As I said in the previous point itself, some point of time, that not only you start with the large savings if your income is small, make a habit of savings. That's why in Indian households, when the child is born, a small bank is being created in the family itself, in the house itself. And every day, every month or every week, the child deposits some sum of money in his bank, right? And bank doesn't mean the bank, the official bank, means in his home itself, in her home itself, there is a small bank, right? You put some small money in that. What is the lesson? The lesson is that you learn to save. A child who of 3 years, 4 years is being taught that saving is important, saving is to be made, right? So that is what financial discipline is. Visualizing goals can help in being financially disciplined. As a financial planner, as a person who has a financial literacy, who has knowledge about the finance, you must able to visualize your future expenses, right? And if you are able to visualize your future expenses, right, you will be more financially disciplined. Because I know that after 5 years, after 10 years, I'll be retiring. When I'll be retiring, I'll not be having my regular income. So at that point of time, where I'll be able to meet my expenses. If I'm a disciplined person, if I'm financially disciplined, I can visualize after my retirement, I'll be requiring a amount of money, right? So I'll plan my savings in a manner so that after the retirement, whatever the money I will be getting from after my retirement, plus my other savings, I will able to meet out those expenses which will come in my life after my retirement, when there will be regular flow of income will not be there. Now, after talking of this financial discipline, the savings, the concept of financial savings, let me introduce you to the concept of financial alerts, or I would say setting alerts. These days, lot of transactions takes place digitally, right? You make lot of transactions through banks. The role of cash for expenditure has decreased, and the role of banks, the role of digital payments is increasing at a very fast rate in a country like India. So when the payments is being made through digital mode, we must be cautious, we must be alert, right? And even for having financial discipline itself, not only talking of frauds and those things, right? For financial discipline, the alerts are important. Like, say for example, to start with an example, I'll be talking in detail, right? I know that when my electricity bill is being generated, on a particular day, in a particular cycle, the electricity bill is being generated. And if my electricity bill is, for example, 10,000 rupees per month, in advance, or I would say this way, that as and when the bill will be generated, I'll get an alert from the bank that if I've given enough instructions to the bank that the time of the electricity bill is coming and you have to arrange approximately, as I said, supposing my average bill is 10,000 rupees, you have to arrange 10,000 rupees. So instead of paying penalty, instead of paying late fee, I'll able to manage in manner so that I can pay my electricity bill in time. Same is the case with all your expenditure, right? I have to pay EMI. If I have to pay my EMI before the EMI, the date of the EMI comes, means monthly installment which I have to pay to the bank for, since I have taken loan for my house, and each month I have to pay, say for example, 40,000 rupees as an installment against the bank loan in form of interest in the principal amount, right? So before the date comes, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in advance, depending on what instruction you have given to the bank, alert will come to you, not only from the bank in which you have to deposit the money, even from your own bank where your saving fund is or your bank account is, right? So these alerts are important for financial discipline. With bank alerts, you can get real-time updates about various types of accounts activity and use these alerts to better manage your finances. Means not only for expenditure you get an alert, but if something these days, as the digital transactions are increasing, there are more chances, there are likelihood that there can be some fraud, right? Cyber frauds are becoming very, I would say common these days. So because of these cyber frauds that is taking place, some hackers may hack your account, some hackers may do something wrong, right? So whenever, supposing your ATM card is being used, immediately you will get an alert. Are you who is using the bank account? Means your bank account is attached with your mobile number, is being attached with your Aadhaar card, right? Aadhaar number. So you have given your mobile number to your bank. The moment the ATM card will be used, immediately you will get an alert from the bank that this much money is being withdrawn. If you are not using it, please immediately report to the bank. So what is happening? So you're being saved, or if it is being happened, a timely action can be taken against the person who is making the fraud, right? So you will able to manage your finances in a better manner. Bank account alerts are extremely user friendly to set up and offer a helpful way to manage your accounts. If you are working towards specific financial goals, bank account alerts are an ideal way to avoid financial oversights or mistakes that would potentially derail your plans, right? Because sometime I'm not able to pay my electricity bill because of the oversight. It is not that I don't have the money. I have the money, but because of the oversight, I'm not able to pay my dues, whatever dues against me is, in time, and it will lead to penalty. It will lead to extra payment, which is not desirable, right? And it will even affect my credit score. Suppose I have taken loans from the banks, and I have to pay the installment of the bank. If I get an alert that on this date your money will be transferred from this account to from the bank, you are having an account to the bank from which you have taken the loan. If you get an alert, if you put an alert there, certainly you will be able to manage it at a particular point of time. Supposing because of some reason you do not have that much money in your bank, so you can manage your fund in a manner so that you can arrange from some other source. You may be having bank account in other bank also, or you may be having income, some other income, some idle cash at your home, so you can deposit the money in your bank so that your timely EMI monthly installment can be paid, right? So it makes you more financially disciplined. So mistakes that could potentially derail your financial plans. Alerts can even remind you that it is time to move some money around to help you avoid fees or to meet your savings goals. I've already said, means if the enough fund is not there, you can manage your fund from one source to you can deposit in the other account where the payment is to be made. Bank alerts are customized to your preferences, and you can turn them on or off at any time. Means customized means they're as per the consumer requirements, as per the customer's requirement, as per your own requirement. What you want to get, for what you want to get. Suppose, you want to get an alert, any transaction that takes in the bank, that must be get noticed, and you must get a message from that, right? So it is a customized. You want that 5 days in advance, any payment which is due of any EMI or anything for which a payment is to be made, alert should be given. You want to make a SIP, you have already ordered for a SIP in a mutual fund, systematic investment plan. Every month SIP goes from your bank account, right? So you will get an alert in advance. So the type of requirement you require, right? So you have a different type of bank alerts, low bank balance, large purchase alerts, single transaction alert, large ATM withdrawals alert. So different type of alerts, different type of the instruction you can give to the bank, and bank, or for that matter, wherever your money is, you will get a message on your mobile, you will get a message on your email, right? So that you can plan, you can be more financially disciplined. So friends, in the subject of financial planning, the financial discipline is very important. Savings is a very important integral part of your financial planning. All of you, especially the young generation who are seeing this lecture, right, who are watching this lecture, I will advise you, make a habit of saving a small amount even in this age group. Thank you very much for today. I will continue this professional financial planning in my next lectures. Thank you.